the NFL Podcast. Sponsored by Daniel Jeremiah.
Right. From the Chris Wesseling Podcast Studio, it's Around the NFL. I'm Dan Hanzus. I come to you from a room filled with heroes. Some of them, anyway. Gregg Rosenthal, Marc Sessler. Boys, yeah, sure, this is Daniel Jeremiah's last big week before he returns from whence he came, some swamp in San Diego.
I mean, or goes on a 3-month vacation, which maybe he does have it figured out.
He does. Draft week. We got a big one. 4 shows coming up this week. The Marc Sessler 2022 NFL Mock Draft.
Oh!
A round 1 recap from Las Vegas. Yes, ATN returns to the draft site. A full draft recap Saturday night. At the end of today's show, a big announcement. But before any of that, let's dive right in with some energy. Rosenthal, go get my lunch, you problematic person.
Why are you calling me out? You think I'm not bringing the energy right now?
I don't know yet.
Well, maybe not all of us have gotten a fresh haircut. Ooh, birthday boy.
That is not a fresh cut.
Okay,
but
it's looking very.
It's a good hair day.
It's looking dense in a good way. I mean, there's some waves in your hair.
Thank you. Let's get right into it. I'm trying to keep us on the track.
I know, sorry.
Energy.
I apologize for Gregg.
I'll get it going. You know, something hit me. First of all, let's check out where we're at in the standings. Go get my lunch standings. Unbelievable what Nick Fortier has done through the years.
Oh, you want to juice up my energy? Just tell me how I'm in first place.
I'll juice you up.
Thanks, buddy.
Gregg Rosenthal's record is, some would say, somewhat impressive to not very impressive. I'm at 193 and 184. That's 51.2%. Gregg, you're at 195 and 177, 52.4%.
Hey, that's first place.
Marc, you've always been feast or famine in this game.
Right.
170 and 183, 48.2%. Again, you're Joey Gallo. You're going to hit 205, but you're going to hit 38 homers. You're going to have a good slugging percentage. You're going to strike out 230 times, but you're going to always get jobs and get paid because you do hit on big ones.
There's going to be a highlight reel attached to my career.
Another way to look at it is we are either exceedingly mediocre or exceedingly well matched against each other. I mean, after making almost 300 different or 400 sandwich props, we're like 9 over or 12 over. He's 12 under. We're all, right around that nice mediocrity.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at it. So let's dive into the draft. This is going to be a tough one. The draft is always tough. This is where you could be a real hero in Go Get My Lunch, and I will get us going here. And something that Josh Norris from the Underdog Network, when he was on our show a couple of weeks ago, really stuck with me. When it's your team, like with Josh, he grew up a Panthers fan, you're naturally follow closer, you have a better chance of getting it right. So I'm going to start with the team that has 2 first-round picks in the top 10. In fact, they have 4 picks in the top 38. It is the Jets. Here's what I got. Hit it again. Hit me that sting again. Bang me with the sting, Ricky. I believe there's some smokescreen work going on here with the Jets at number 4. I think there are too many quality receivers in this draft to pick one in the top 5. I'd wager to guess they like their D-line a little bit more than people realize with Carl Lawson coming back. They have more draft capital in the second round and some people that know defensive line in that building, so they could find a complement there. What they really need is a dog in the secondary, a guy with star potential who will allow the other complementary players to fall into that place. So Sauce Gardner. I think he's the safest pick in the top 10. Everybody loves him. QBs didn't go near him at Cincinnati. So if you have a young impact starter in the secondary, that could be the key to unlock Saleh's defense in year 2. He comes off the board. This is what the prop is, to the Jets in the top 10. And the only thing stopping me from getting real aggressive is the uncertainty and secrecy around Mekhi Becton. If he's eating himself out of the league and they're really out on him, I would not be surprised at all to see them take an offensive lineman at the top of the draft, which would then change, I think, some things. But a trade up to get Sauce would still be in play. I doubt he's still there at 10 when the Jets' other 10 pick is, but I could see them getting someone at 4 and then maybe trading up to get Sauce unless they take Sauce at 4. Anyway, Jets take Sauce Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati, in the top 10.
I love the pairing of him and Robert Saleh because we already know that Robert Saleh maximizes his defensive backfield. He's played since he was a freshman, 1,000-plus snaps, never allowed a touchdown. I do wonder if he gets past Houston at number 3. But if he does, he feels like a locked-on target for the Jets at number 4. I like it.
He's also the most confident guy in the draft. He was on NFL Now on Tuesday. They were taping this here. And the man just like oozes, I'm going to be great. I feel like the Jets need a little bit of that. It feels like you couldn't miss on this. Now, he's more of a boundary corner, a press man. That's what you used to value in the NFL. Now you got to ask him to play zone half the time. That's a little different, but I like that. And I'm taking you on the sandwich, of course, because anytime you go team name specific, that's just a blanket. Take the sandwich.
I'll take you too, but I could see this. This feels like something they would absolutely pounce on.
I know I wanted to come in strong. I wanted to set the tone for the sandwich props in 2022. No, we're not playing soft here. We're not playing soft zone. We're playing press coverage. Gregg, you're up.
I might be playing some soft zone. I'm going to just be totally vanilla, just like a nice 4-iron down the middle to set up my next shot.
4-iron.
Let's go over 6 wide receivers in the first round. How about that? So it's got to be over 6 wide receivers. There's kind of the big 6 probably that are talked about the most.
Let's hear him, Gregg.
Here we go. I don't know if it matters what the order would be. I think Jameson Williams is the 1. I would go Chris Olave 2. I think George Pickens winds up sneaking into the back of the first round. You have the 2 Ohio State receivers, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson at some point. A lot of people like Treylon Burks to go in the first round. I'm not so sure about him, but I think some team will fall in love with him. And then you throw in a Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson, maybe have a chance to sneak in. That's what I need, is one of those extra ones to get in over 6. And if it lands at 6, it's a push. There's no sandwiches. See, I'm just trying to help the NFL out here and what kind of sponsorship opportunities I feel like this podcast could have in the future.
I like the push aspect. I'll just take you any sandwich. But I've been working on a project of my own for an episode later this week, and I'm in alignment with you on what I think will happen. But
your mock draft.
Yes,
you don't have to make it a secret when we literally just mentioned the show.
Teased it at the top.
Yeah,
well,
and it's a whole show. We want people to listen.
It could be a different project than that. But you're right. It is that project.
Yeah,
you don't have that many projects.
I mean, my problem is I think there's going to be a run, and then you still have teams like Green Bay at the end of the round that are going to have a need. So I think they're going to give you your tipping point, number 7 guy, if there's a big enough run.
Okay.
So you have 6 and 32.
It's crazy because none of these guys, I think Jameson Williams would be the exception, where if he was healthy, he'd be a top 10 type of pick in any draft. But the rest of the guys, they're all in the same bucket. And so I'm really fascinated because I think Jeremiah's rankings and some of these draft experts' rankings have so much influence, whereas I got a feeling everyone sees these guys different. There's so many good guys, but they all seem like guys who would normally go off 15 to 30, and you might see them go in any order. A lot of surprises.
Interesting.
I'm bringing that energy.
I think one of those, you're doing great so far. I think one of those wide receivers.
When you have to announce it, though, that's problematic.
Don't stop me.
One of those wide receivers typically falls out and is picked very early, day 2. I think that's what happens here. I'll take you on it.
Okay.
And it's an interesting wide receiver class. It's a great wide receiver class, they say, or very good or very deep. Elijah Moore, who went 34 last year, we've heard that he would have been top 15 this year. So that means maybe the talent level isn't maybe as high, and some teams will see some of these guys as more second-round pick
It's
material.
an argument to wait because I think that second round of receivers looks pretty good too.
All right. You're up next. Marc Sessler.
All right, this may be a sneak peek into or this song.
There you go.
I appreciate that. That was a little more bells and whistles to that.
Well, that was a little build-up. Remember, it was Marc Sessler mock draft season coming up on Wednesday on the Around the NFL schedule. We're building up that hype.
This could be a window into what I'm thinking, but I feel strongly about this. That's why I'm making it a sandwich prop, naturally. I don't know why I need to clarify that.
Okay.
But the New Orleans Saints, who have done a lot of maneuvering to get 2 first-round picks, will ultimately make 3 first-round picks in round 1. Obviously in round 1.
Whoa.
Spicy onion.
That is ridiculous.
This is why I have the lowest winning percentage, because right out of the gate, just swinging for the fences, it could be a massive strikeout.
How does it happen? How do you see it in your mind, your beautiful mind, Mark?
That will be revealed during the mock draft special.
Nice tease.
Wait, because they already
have 2.
sent a future one to get this one.
I think when you see what happens, you could see that they can maybe make some maneuverings.
It's an interesting thought, and I do have some guesses that Marc might have like a Saints whisper over there at the Saints Twitter podcast, like giving him this like little tips and things like that. But it's an interesting thought into the mind of what the Saints could be thinking, because I got a feeling like everyone's back this year. It's like Dennis Allen. It's the same GM. It's the same team. And I do wonder if this group is a little worried that if they don't go to the playoffs, that they could change everything next year. So it's Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, all these guys being like, keep us all employed. Let's keep us together. Let's win some games right now.
I'll take you on the prop.
Yeah, I have to take it.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
I think if Mickey Loomis, after already pulling off a big blockbuster draft trade with the Eagles, now pulls off another one on draft night, maybe we finally could put to bed your theory that Mickey Loomis is spread too thin between the Pelicans.
I mean, that's a theory that has some dust on it at this point. I mean, they had gone on to succeed in many ways since then. That was when they had
the Pelicans are taking the NBA by storm now. They're tied with the 1 seed
I get it,
without
NBA
their best
insider,
player.
but I'm not concerned about the Pelicans side of it.
What are your thoughts on the Devin Booker injury and how that has affected the Suns?
Traumatic.
He's right.
Well, no, actually,
he's right. I
listened to a ton of NBA radio, and I've heard all about that. And it's
the
crippling.
They're likable. They're doing a good job over there at the Pelicans. It was a crazy
crowd. I call Gregg Round Ball Rock Rosenthal because he loves basketball so much now.
Suddenly.
When I killed Loomis, it was when they had those back-to-back 7 and 9 seasons where he did feel like he was floating into the abyss and overwhelmed with too much on his plate.
I like that the Saints do things differently. They keep it interesting on day one, and so I'm looking forward to them drafting some like stiff defensive end no one's ever heard of with one of them.
Well, that would be annoying.
Round 2, let's go. We're flying. You mentioned the wide receivers. I got one for you, Greggy. I'm liking the Chiefs. Traded up for one of these big wideouts.
Okay.
I like Jameson Williams here. He has similar traits to Tyreek Hill. Nobody's Tyreek Hill, but he has a very high ceiling, even coming off the knee injury. He produced at a big-time college program. If rehab goes to plan, he's a difference maker right away. They need that, even if it's not September and October. We'll see what happens with rehab. But the Chiefs play for January and February. You could easily make this prop about the Packers as well for obvious reasons, but I just sense a little bit more desperation creeping in for Kansas City, which has seen its dynasty plans stall a bit here, coming off an offensive meltdown for the ages in the AFC title game. And then you go and trade your most explosive weapon, the greatest playmaker of his generation. So that doesn't seem to buy into the idea of we need to get better on offense. So they do. They go and get aggressive and go trade up, give up assets to find an heir apparent to Hill with all-pro upside. Williams is my pick, but I'll cover my nards here.
Please do.
As I always do.
Everyone.
I was going to say, we're at a workplace, so that would be...
Marc doesn't necessarily. I mean, he does with his pants,
right.
But after that...
Right.
How would you know?
We know.
I'm going to cover my nards on this one. Keep it open-ended. Chiefs trade up in the first round to land their Tyreek Hill replacement.
Okay. I thought you were going to go for a specific name.
No, I'm covering my nards, as I stated.
Because that would have been 2 onion hangers.
Try these onions. You'll like them. They're real sweet onions.
In a row. And I like the thought because they have 29 and 30. And I think... when you have 2 picks together, when you have 2 picks in the first round, but especially together, that's what Bill Belichick is always looking for, 2 picks that are close. It's usually in round 2, 3, but he wants those picks that are close because then you can move up, you can move down, you can be trader. And we've seen the Chiefs...
You want to be nimble on the draft board.
Be like that. Trade up, trade down, move all around.
Marc, you want to be nimble on the draft board. Your thoughts?
I just don't think...
a corporate phrase that is slightly tired.
I just don't think they need to for a wide receiver. Just because I think... a George Pickens could be there. A Jahan Dotson could be there. Some really great options. And so I'll just take you up on it. But the thinking makes sense to me, and you might hit this one.
See, to your point.
It was an onion hanger that you could get right.
All right, good. Thank you. I think what you're saying is right, that they could hang back a little bit. But again, I think there's some urgency in that building because they didn't. It kind of got to the point where they're like, all right, we have to make this Hill move. We think it just makes us better in the long term. But at the same time, the window is still open here to win Super Bowls, and I think that's going to inform some aggressiveness.
The only reason I push back is this team needs a lot. I believe. I think they need starters, and they might look at those 2 picks and think, we can get 2 starters. We really need to replenish and get some core young pieces.
On defense, too, I'm kind of with you. They could stay home. I liked the word you used, urgency, more than what you said previously, desperation, because they don't strike me as desperate. But Tyreek Hill felt like move A, and there's probably a move B beyond their free agent signings of Juju, X, Y, and Z. It's like I think if they really favor someone, if they find someone to be a total fit, they're in a great place to trade up. I will take you on it. I would be surprised if they do because there's so many valuable wide receivers they could grab that could fall to them where they are at 29 and 30.
Although I guess if I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, if I end up being right and 7 receivers go, the top ones, there'll be a run early, and maybe they have one they really have their eye on.
Move here.
It's possible. All right, I'll go next. Dan, I got to admit, you said you wanted to bring the energy. You wanted onion
That sounded
hangers,
desperate.
and now this one, I think I'm going to throw it away because it felt too cute. It was more Georgia players in the top 50 than quarterbacks drafted, which is fun, but I think that's almost too safe if you really look at the numbers. I was just trying to muddy the waters with you guys. So instead,
and almost fall off your chair.
Let's do another Georgia prop, and let's just keep it simple. Trayvon Walker is not the number 1 overall pick. I just want to keep it simple. Let's go to the big stories. And right now in Vegas, he's become a decently sized favorite to be the number 1 pick. It's been fascinating to see how this changed. By the way. What?
One thing we have learned. This is a hard game, but whenever you could take the field, always take the field.
Sure,
You're taking the field.
I am taking the field, but also. Usually the number 1 overall pick favorite to be drafted, it keeps happening. Like generally they're on to something, and the mocks have really moved towards Walker, and now Vegas has moved to Walker too. And so I'm just going to root for a little bit of surprise and say he's not the 1 pick.
I mean, so it sounds like there's Trent Baalke who wants Walker, and the owner, Chad Khan, but per some reports is more in the Aiden Hutchinson camp. And so there's different camps, which is so Jaguars to be 2 days away from the draft.
I would take the owner in any type of
I'll take you on it because I kind of agree with that. But I just think that they're divided and they maybe haven't decided yet. But I think it's spicy.
It feels like
Trayvon Walker in the last, in all the recent mocks, he's going 1-1-1 for certain people.
Right. So I'm trying to push against that. Although I did notice, I got to admit, which maybe put this over the top, Bucky Brooks didn't have him number 1. And Bucky Brooks does get a paycheck from the Jaguars, so I was just like, oh, maybe that's a little something. I don't know if that means anything.
Interesting.
Well,
like we do have Maurice Jones-Drew coming in.
And he has Trayvon Walker number 1, and he also has birds inside the building. Lots of them, flocks of them.
True. He was on top of some Jaguars-related Urban Meyer news.
Jetsam.
Flocks of birds.
Flocks of birds, Flotsam, Jetsam.
Flotsam, Jetsam is not so helpful if you're a...
You know what?
But if you could find this one about the Georgia players over the quarterbacks in the top 50, that's good.
If MJD has Trayvon going,
he does.
I'm going with MJD. So I'll take you up on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go for the underdog here.
All right, how about Mark? Go.
All right, neither Deebo Samuel.
Man, if only I could have done a sandwich on a sound drop stopping Mark cold in the middle of speaking.
In every episode.
Over 1.5? We're already over.
In every episode of this production.
You know, this is it is a production, Mark.
Right.
So now that we're 1,400 shows in, maybe when you hear it, just react to it, let it play out, then continue.
If we do a third prop, I'm not going to speak until, and then it will not play because.
Or you could just keep talking over it. I think that's fine too. It's natural if you're. If you're mid sentence.
You know what gets me a little
not my
upset
nature.
Is when Mark, I could tell, throws off his train of thought.
Yeah,
and it's just like puts me in a tough spot because it's like we want to produce the best show, but also we don't want to lose Mark's focus.
And then he sends those eyes back towards Ricky back there.
Well, it's like, why did I leave my home
today? Those beautiful
it's just
blue-green eyes.
Every time we hit the sound drop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's
And
getting it.
Everybody's getting it, and Gregg and Dan keep saying like, "Here it is," and then you got really
Stops them
upset.
dead.
Yeah, it wasn't personal. It's
I don't feel like I've gotten very upset. In fact, I complimented the sound drop the first time as having more
I think
bells
we're
and
all
whistles.
picking up on the same kind of energy emanating out of the chair, though, as the segment goes along.
Would you like me to proceed with this second sandwich prop?
All right, go ahead.
All right, neither Deebo Samuel. See, that's what happens. Now you're not playing. Whoever yours is.
That's fuckery.
Yeah, that was Dan.
I saw Dan, like, he wagged at Erica, and then Erica pressed the button. I see how it works.
After 1400, though,
Then Gregg talks.
You gotta like let him have his fun. This
Then
is
Gregg
what
talks
gets
again.
him awake in the morning. You know, this is
All
what
right.
keeps Dan going.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Neither Deebo Samuel or A.J. Brown are traded during the beginning to start wire-to-wire element of the draft.
Neither are traded.
But DK Metcalf is.
Oh, okay.
I
First
saw
of all, we're
Greg thinking
cooking.
not spicy enough. It's like
Yeah.
it got spicier
It
at
was.
the end there.
It wasn't spicy at
Yeah,
all.
I'll take you on that. That's good. That's a good prop. It's your onions are hanging, your nards are uncovered, and I will take you up on that.
They are covered.
Where's it going? Save it.
I will save it.
I will take you up on
Tease.
it, and I would be. I would just be ashamed if I was a Seahawks fan and this happened. I hope this doesn't happen. I don't like the idea of it, but it does feel like they're open to it, which is really crazy to me. Why are they so open to it?
What if, Greg, you were invited to a dinner with me on Wednesday that Mark and I weren't invited to? What if the trade goes down during that dinner and me and a big Seahawks fan is so upset that the entire dinner, which Mark and I won't be at,
I mean, who
will
says
be-
you? I mean, who knows? Maybe you can be at it.
No, we
haven't
don't need
made
a
any
pity in
Well,
that.
it's
plans.
too late now.
Yeah, it's way too
Yeah.
late.
Hi, hey, we're
You
here.
made it sound like it's some like private dinner. There's many people going. You know.
There are many people going.
Sure.
Well, not Mark and Dan, but many
No.
others.
Is Erica going?
no, I didn't get the invite either.
Oh.
But I think the three of us, we're going to dinner. We've got something big.
Oh, we
planned.
have got a huge dinner planned.
I've been in talks with some promoters, and we've got red rope access to a couple of places tomorrow.
I mean,
time ropes.
I have learned over the years, Dan only accepts full commitment every night, every dinner, every event.
No, I think it
You
would.
know, we doubled up at your birthday party the other day.
Don't bring my birthday
I
into
went
this.
there. It's a pool session. Then I brought the kid back and then comes back up. That's not enough. We got to get Wednesday night in too.
that is a bit of a insight into maybe your plans from the weekend, which are very nice, and I had a great time with everybody. But are you doing that because you were guilty about Wednesday's dinner in Vegas? No. Is that why you doubled up? You're the one that brought that up.
It was
Yeah.
more I was planning the second portion, and then our house was flaming down between the children, and it was a great option. What a night!
Let's
What a
just
day!
let's role
What a
play,
day.
Mark. You and I, okay?
Sure. This is ridiculous.
Let's get a phone call. We could put that in post. You're Mina Kimes. I'm Dan Hanzus.
Who
Oh,
would
I'm
have
Greg
a
Rosenthal.
phone call?
Here we go.
Who would have a phone
I'm
call?
Mina calling Greg,
Yes.
inviting Greg to the dinner.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Hello.
Hey, Greg, it's Mina.
Oh, hey, Mina. What's up? Oh, it's so good to hear from you.
Oh, I mean, I want to call you all the time, but I don't want to bug you. But anyways, draft week, we're all going to Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
And there is an elite group of, I'm gathering an elite group of NFL analysts to gather for a supper together in the city of sin. Would you like to join me?
Oh, well, of course. Well, this is how I wanted to play out. One issue, the guys are there, and Ricky, and we have plans. Maybe, I don't know.
So you were one of the last people that I invited, and there was only a couple slots. There isn't enough seats for Dan and the guy and Erica.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks, because I definitely want them to join us.
Greg, this is like a super important dinner. You don't want to not be at this.
Is it? All right. Screw those guys. I'll see you Wednesday. Click. Just was looking for you to say, like, oh, maybe the guys.
I would call it a Nate Tice dinner if you're going to throw someone
Tice
under the bus.
under the bus.
Friend of the show.
And they're making plans a month ago. You think you're making plans a month ago? Who knows? You're not thinking about all this through.
All right. Are we hurt or are we okay, Mark?
I don't feel anything.
Right. Dan's hurt. Mark doesn't.
I'm a little hurt. My feelings are a little hurt.
Mark doesn't want more time with me. Or
No,
us
it's
in
not that.
general.
I'm the most hurt. I thought the four of us would
Oh, right.
really
From
be
that
spending
angle.
this week together.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get to that.
That's the more hurtable angle.
We can spend time together tonight, Erica, on the Jesselnick and Rosenthal Vanity Project. I'll see your beautiful face on the screen.
If he's getting paid for it, he'll hang out with you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, who's up? Am I up? All right, one more?
One more each.
All right, here we go. Let's talk about the Bills' defense. Let's talk about how their season ended. When I think about what the Bills need, I think about this.
Can't believe that defense got beaten up like that. So this here's Hill. They're going to have a chance. And they call timeout quickly.
And this.
Down the middle. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be a 48-yard attempt. Only 48 yards. That's what it'll be.
And most of all, this.
Looking to the end zone for the win. He caught it. Ball game. Chiefs to the championship game. This is just unfathomable. If the Bills had won this game, it was over.
Get out of here with your running back to the Bills hype. This team is too smart not to see why they didn't win the Super Bowl last year. It wasn't because the offense wasn't explosive enough. It is because they were missing a couple guys that could make those plays that would get out of the divisional playoffs with a win. That's what keeps Sean McDermott up at night. That's what keeps Brandon Beane up at night. They have built this organization so well that it would surprise me if they came out of this and said, with our top draft asset, we're going to go get a running back to complement Josh Allen and this loaded offense. They're going to continue to build out that defense. No running back to the Bills. They'll take a defensive player.
I'll take you because I think it's 50-50. When so many people are mocking running back to the Bills, part of me is like there is information behind that. It doesn't mean that's what they're decided on. Not with everyone, but with some of them, there seems to be like intelligence rooted there. And so I put it at 50-50, but for the sake of the game, I'll take you.
Yeah, I put it at 50-50 too because offensive linemen could be taken and you'd lose this prop, right? It doesn't have to, if they take an offensive lineman, which I think is absolutely a big-time need for them and could be an option there at 24. Probably wouldn't take Linderbaum, the center, but there could be a few different players available that they would like. I could see it, but I think it's about 50-50. I am with you that they need defense. I kind of do think they're going to take defense. I guess I won't take you on it.
Ooh.
I guess I won't.
Okay.
And I would give it like 53-47.
Yeah, they're picking 25th, 57th in the second round, 89th in the third round. I'm not saying it would make sense maybe in the second round, take a running back or a lineman, but I think they will. They could even do some business. They could trade and acquire more picks. That would make sense as well. They're run so well right now that I think whatever they end up doing, it will be a defensive player that comes off.
Right. I'm trying to think where is the draft deep, where are there going to be some really exciting players available. I feel like there's going to be some really good players in the secondary. Could even be a safety. I know they have two great safeties, but they're both in the final year of their contract, so I'm not going to take you.
All right. Now, Gregg, I'm going to tee yours up. Yours is so special. Time now for Gregg's final prop presented by Upwork, where you could build the team that will build your business. Learn more at Upwork.com. It better be good because it got the Upwork seal of approval.
This one is worthy of Upwork. It's a two-parter.
By the way, people should know that Gregg, when he heard that sting, he pumped his arm. He got more excited for what was to come. There's the difference.
I am making a first here. The first ever two-part sandwich prop. Maybe that's not a first, actually. We've probably done something like this. But the first part of it is that Desmond Ritter, who's Spice Rack, who's going to be on the show shortly, or rather on Wednesday, is not a fan of. He's not a fan of, but I am. And I think he's going to go in the first round. That's the first part. But the second part of it is putting a player to the team exactly. And I'm going to say he's going to the Tennessee Titans because that's going to annoy all of Titans Twitter. Justin, speak to me about how mad you'll be when they take Desmond Ritter and I get a boatload of sandwiches.
Gravedigger's going to be so mad.
So I wouldn't be mad per se. I think the Titans
just play into it, Graver.
All right, I don't like Desmond Ritter.
I want to hear your real thoughts.
No, I personally just like watching football. I'm not the biggest fan of Desmond Ritter as a quarterback. I hear he's a terrific person and a great kid, so I don't want to speak ill of him, but I don't love the way he throws a football. So
it's a little wonky.
I think the Titans could take a quarterback. They've been in every quarterback pro day. They've had visits with them. They brought Malik Willis in for a top 30. Like, they are doing their homework on the quarterback, so it's definitely in play. And there's a big segment of Titans Twitter that likes Desmond Ritter and thinks he will be the pick at 26. I don't love it. I think there's better ways to go and maximize this tiny window you have with Tannehill and Henry before they're too old to be effective. But it's possible.
This was my other route I was going to go down, and I think there's too much smoke around the QB position in Nashville. I think they're not in a panic mode, obviously, here, because they like Tannehill. You know they do. He's been really steady for them, solid, very good, and durable for several years now, but he's also entering his age 34 season. He's got 2 years left on his deal.
When did he get so old?
He's coming off a grisly playoff performance against the Bengals, obviously. And I'd guess that the Bengals brain trust has had more than a few conversations this offseason when they look at Tannehill and they look at Derrick Henry with about 80,000 miles on the odometer at this point, and they say, in this conference right now, is that good enough? And so they're picking 26 overall. This is right in the zone where some of these quarterbacks might be living, which is a good spot for them. But also, I wonder, they gave up their second-round pick last year for Julio Jones. I wonder if they're also annoyed about that. And they're like, we want that pick back, and we are going to trade back, get a second-round pick, maybe have 2 second-round picks, maybe a back-of-the-first-round pick. And that's why I was going to say they take a quarterback in the first 89 picks. They're picking 90th in the third round. So they do some draft moving and maneuvering, but one of their they take a quarterback fairly early in this draft.
I'd almost be surprised if they didn't take one in the top 89, you said?
Right.
I could see that. In terms of Ritter, in the first round, they're at 26. The one Daniel Jeremiah has linked, he's heard over and over that Ritter could be linked to the Saints, who are at 16 and 19. So I wonder if he even lasts that long, because Ritter is someone that in the last couple weeks, it's like all these teams love him. Like you said, Gravedigger, they love the person. They think he's kind of fits the mold on that front. He has, it's the accuracy business. Like when he misses real hard on throws. But if you go deeper into some of his metrics, and some people have done the work on this, like he actually isn't that. His inaccuracy issues don't stand out that much from the other quarterbacks in this draft. So if someone falls in love with him, bang. I just wonder if it's the Saints.
It kind of reminds me of Ryan Tannehill. I guess that would be my question.
He compared himself to Ryan Tannehill at the Combine. They said, what quarterback do you think you're most like?
I would say big, he's a tall dude. He's not as thick as Tannehill, but similar athletic ability. Throws a really nice ball up the seam, just like Tannehill. Big, tall guy. I could kind of see it. And maybe that's a reason not to take any of these quarterbacks if you're the Titans. Are any of them going to be that huge of an upgrade in a good scenario? Because I kind of like Ritter, but I see him as probably a Tannehill in the right scenario. Maybe he's a little more advanced mentally than Tannehill was coming out of college, but Tannehill got there eventually.
Right. Like, how long does it take before a quarterback you draft this year is giving you more than what Tannehill gives you?
It's a reason not to take it. But remember, this is a two-parter, so you have to pick the sandwich on whether he goes first round, and you have to pick the sandwich on whether he goes to the Titans.
Can I take?
It's two sandwich props.
It's two sandwich
I'm
props.
taking you on the first round. I mean, I agree with you on the first round, so I will not take you, but I will take you on the landing spot. That would be what? I give him half a sandwich or something?
There's two. It's two-parter.
I don't know. I'll take. He's not going to the first round, but he's going to the Titans.
Well, then I would still be wrong, because I'm saying they would take him in the first round.
No, other way around. He'll go in the first round, but not to the Titans.
That's what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Gregg, you made the point, like, how did he get so old? He was one of those guys. He came into the league at 24. So you would think he seems like he should be 32.
Little like Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Kenny Pickett's only 1 year older than Sam Darnold. Every year there's some draft stat about a quarterback versus Sam Darnold, and that's it. If Pickett got drafted to the Panthers, he's only a year older than Darnold, who's been in the league for 17 years.
The question is, will you be annoyed, Graver, if they do end up taking the quarterback, that will kind of be a major subplot of the summer?
Give me Sam Howell. I'm in on Sam Howell.
Okay. Sam Howell.
Yeah,
all right.
He's the guy.
Interesting.
I'll have to do some research on that. That was Gregg's Double Banger, presented by Upwork, the world's work marketplace. Learn more at Upwork.com. Finally, and we got warming up in the bullpen, Maurice Jones-Drew talking draft. Marc, take us home with the 2022 sandwich props.
All right, this is just something that why did I do that again?
Wait. And now you go.
I don't understand how this show works, obviously. This is just something that came to me in the middle of the night. Now, this is not a player necessarily or a human being in Las Vegas. It's
Right.
you only bring how many players to Las Vegas?
But you know what's going to happen? We're going to get tweets and things of that nature. You guys are being mean to Mark. But again, it's more it's the drop that we're trying to struggle because we're all moving with the drop, but you're struggling.
Well, let me be clear. Like,
Yes.
I'm blaming myself. Like, we went through an instructional on the last round about.
Right.
I should have absolutely known what was going to happen there. So it's
right.
not your fault.
Now, all right. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're going to reset, and Mark will give us his final prop. Look at that. Steely focus.
A draftable player will go missing during the draft.
Oh, I like it. Closing strong.
So I'm not talking about it doesn't have to be one of the people that are in Las Vegas, although you'd think that might be a better place to go missing. All the players that are draftable around the country, someone's going to go missing, and they will be drafted unreachable.
Anyone that's draft eligible?
We're
Yes.
not talking like abduction here, right?
I in my heart of hearts, I think it has a happy ending, but I just think that during the draft process, it's mysterious. The player is.
Well, how does it work with, I don't know, is there an actual pool of, I don't know, 500 or something, or is it anyone that had played college? Like, how does the draft?
No, there's a clear list
it
of
would have to
draftable
be
players.
someone that was newsworthy enough that it became a story and we learned about it. So that would indicate a person that's going to get drafted.
Right.
If some guy who had like 6 catches at Sam Houston State, you can't locate him,
Right.
no one's going to know about it.
Like, if some guy at Rockland Community College went down to Tijuana, like he played college
doesn't
ball
count.
and was
Right,
draft
but if
eligible.
We would
nobody
never
knows
find
about
out.
it, I will not
Right.
win the sandwich prop. If no
I'll
human
I'll
learned
take you.
about it.
I mean, I don't like the idea that most of Mark's sandwiches props are generally something you could make like a Netflix 3-part documentary about.
Well,
that's
Greg, there
generally
is
what
not everything in the world is roses and strawberry ice cream.
No,
so
we can root for people to get abducted on the biggest weekend of their lives. That's great.
But it's not just abduction. It's basically going off the rails. It's something mystical.
It becomes a news item where we
Mark's
would all know
mental
about it.
health breakdown. Mental
No,
health
I'm not.
breakdown.
No,
It's
Greg,
like,
I'm
What
not.
about
White
Mark,
Knight.
where they went to Bill Belichick's, draft room and it was his dog? Is that missing? Like, that clip was going around crazy.
No.
It's like,
no.
Oh,
And
he's
this is
not
like
there.
I think the person will be located at some point in a fine fashion.
It's good you asked that question, though.
It's a news. It would be a news item.
You got to clarify that.
Gotta clarify.
Not a dog in Bill Belichick's house. A person is. They go
Okay.
missing, and
I'll take you up
people
on
are
it.
we
Go
don't know where
missing.
he
At
is.
some point, someone, it's probably Ian Rappaport at NFL Network,
Sure.
is reporting that they can't find third-round guard.
Right.
From,
Exactly.
Like Ian puts on his serious voice, like with the gas mask bong
Right.
from
yeah.
a couple of years back. He's like, a really upsetting development here. And Mark's like, got his fingers crossed. He's like, come on, somebody be missing. Somebody be missing.
Well, I
And
want to
then you
win.
would win. You would win big.
That would be one of those home run shots out of the park.
This is the 540-foot 3-run blast.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good.
We'll take you on it.
I don't like it, though. I feel like we're all hanging too much onions.
Well, that's what makes it fun. Let's take a break. And the great MJD will join us. All right, here we are, joined by the greatest Jaguar of all time, a longtime colleague now. We're getting
Almost
we're
double
inching
digits.
into the decade territory, and one of the draft analysts for NFL Network. I'm referring, of course, to Blake Bortles. No, I'm referring to Maurice Jones-Drew, MJD. What's up, buddy? Welcome for the first time to the Around the NFL podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it's the first. First of all, I appreciate the
You're expensive.
introduction.
You're expensive.
I guess you could say that, but you didn't say the best number 60th pick ever in the NFL draft.
Ooh.
And during draft week too.
Who is the competition?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. There's
I
no
like
one
that
that's
you
close.
just took the greatest Jaguar of all time, and you're like, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
got to do that. That's easy.
When on the
Easy work.
60th thing, you know that no one's going to actually sit around and do the research. So you just fly that out there as
right?
your title.
Just throw it
Right.
out there. I think I'm going to have them put it on my tombstone as when they come up. The best number 60 draft pick ever in the NFL draft.
I mean,
Ever.
Tony Baselli's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but
for the
he
Jaguars.
went to the other school, so that kind of knocks him down a little bit.
Okay.
Do we?
But
before we get to your mock draft and where you stand on this draft, I'm curious where you stand on the Jags. How you feel about Trevor Lawrence, by the way? Do you think when everything was said and done last year, the fact that he played every week, he took that beating, had all the dysfunction behind the scenes, and still, did not do a ton of talking in the media, to me, I was impressed by it. How did you come out of the season for him?
I always think when you have a rookie quarterback, you have to do as much around him as possible, right? Jags didn't do that, and then on top of that, they were tearing him down as they went, right? So the fact that you don't play James Robinson because he fumbles one time, or you bench him for it was just so many things. And so I do see it as a positive, but we have to move past that now. Now it's like we've gotten you some weapons. It's time to see what you can do because we need to be able to really figure out if you're the guy or not, right? So many times we try to give these quarterbacks i.e. Daniel Jones, every chance to get.
He's the number 1 overall pick in the draft and one of the best prospects of the last 5 years. They're giving him a few years. They're giving him 3 years minimum.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to give him the chance. You have to give him the pieces, and then we can evaluate you. There's a lot of times number 1 picks don't work out. It happens all the time. It's the draft, right? So in this situation, you just say, look, that year's a wash. I love the fact they went out and they got Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. They went and got Evan Ingram. They putting guys around. You got a coach. That coach played the position in the National Football
Doug
League.
Peterson?
Yeah, all those things. You're doing all that. Let's not worry. Defense will be fine. Let's put everything around him so we can evaluate him so we can move forward. Because as we all know, you need a quarterback in the National Football League to contend, right? Your quarterback has to be able to if you have a bad play call, to be able to either have the athleticism to get you to turn it into a decent play or a great play, or have the mental capacity to be able to change the play into a better play more times than none. And that's what we're not seeing here a lot with some of these guys.
Can I ask you a part B to that? It probably was about 2 weeks into the Urban Meyer experience where certain players on that team are thinking, what the hell is going on here? You've been on some good teams, some bad teams. What happens when you find out the coach is a hurricane of chaos? Do people just say, I'm protecting my body? This is a nightmare?
Well, so I guess from my perspective, I was there during training camp and I kind of saw the way they were practicing. They were practicing hard. It was like one of those old college practices where you're hitting every day, all day. I mean, they had already been fined for doing some drills and OTAs that they weren't supposed to do. So they were in those tough situations. It happened before in Jacksonville. When Jacksonville went to the AFC Championship game, they had practiced really hard that summer in training camp, and they kind of bled over into the season, and they played well. The key is when you practice like that, you have to have instant success. Because if you don't have success and we're working this hard, it becomes a problem. Because now, I'm getting beat up more in practice than I am the game. And then I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor. And so what happens, you're right. What happens in that situation is guys start to protect themselves. You seeing little cliques group up in the locker room. It becomes pretty much like high school. Look, this is my guy. I'm going to protect my guy. I'm going to do his best. Receivers are going to start talking to the quarterback. Hey, I'm open. Let me get this rock. Because you're playing. You may not be here next year because of how bad you are. So you're kind of playing for self and trying to preserve your future with whatever team it may be.
Because you were on some good Jags teams. You were on some messy teams, too. You were with the Dennis Allen Raiders.
Yeah.
The team that famously, our friend Chris Wesseling had no faith in those Dennis Allen Raiders back in the day.
Feel strongly about that.
That might have been the most talented team that I'd ever been on. In 2007, we were a really good team. We had really good receivers. Matt Jones kind of showed up and played well. 6'6" guy, run 4.3, old quarterback from Arkansas, right? We had Reggie Williams, top draft pick from Washington, and Ernest Wilford from Virginia. So we had some big guys. When I got to the Raiders, we had receivers that were 6'3", 215, ran 4.3 40s, catch the ball. I was like, what's going on? Why can't we win with these guys? You had left tackles, and we had a team of guys. Sometimes it has to click for you, right? Again, I work for the Rams. Obviously, I don't know if we talked about that. I work for the Rams. When Sean McVay first got to L.A., we didn't know if his system was going to work. But guess who the first game was against? You guys have an idea? It was in the Coliseum.
First regular season game?
Regular season game.
I don't remember.
It was against the Colts. You know who the quarterback was?
Jacoby Brissett?
Scott Tolzien.
That year.
And they put up 45. Now, no matter what happens throughout the rest of the season, your season starts off right because your message is now. There you go.
That's the pronunciation.
Your message is kind of like, okay, it's working, right? Even though we didn't play a really good team, the message works, right? And so the Rams go off, and that message is continuing to work because they've been successful. And the biggest thing is whenever you're a new coach, having success as early as possible.
Right, and you look at Urban Meyer again as an example. That first game against the Texans, you're like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Yeah, you kicked the kicker during preseason. You can't there were so many things that went wrong that you had to get out of that. To be honest, to not fly back with the team was like, to me, was like
It was
the biggest
over
thing.
then.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
It seems like you lose
That
everyone.
was week 3.
Yeah, exactly. How do you, you're the CEO, you're telling everyone what to do, and then you don't get back on the plane with us after a Thursday night game?
Well, listen, you were ahead of I hope I'm not talking out of school here, but we watched Sunday Night Football together in the theater here, and we had a great time getting to know each other. And you had given us some of those Meyer nuggets weeks before it had come out. You were plugged in. And on that note, we look at your mock draft here.
Yeah.
You got Trayvon Walker going number 1 to the Jags. Vegas has Trayvon Walker going to the Jags.
They must have been following my mock draft.
Who told you? Did Shad Khan tell you that he's taking Trayvon Walker? Just be honest. No one's listening.
So no, I'll give you kind of what I've heard at this point. I heard there's 3 to 4 guys there. Obviously, the report came out that Shad Khan wants Hutchinson. I think Trent Baalke, he loves Trayvon Walker. That's kind of why I put him there, because at the time it's just like he has the skill set of what they're trying to build in Jacksonville. He played in that SEC. They won a championship. They want all that pedigree to come to Jacksonville. Very similar to what Mike Mayock did with the Raiders when he was drafting all those Clemson guys and Alabama guys. He's trying to bring that to the league. But then the last but not least is, Bucky just put Ike Iguanu at the first overall pick because Doug Peterson is a quarterback, and he wants to protect his guy. And so it's whoever's going to run the draft is the one that's going to pick. And I think those are the top guys that they're going with. It'd probably be Evan Neal as well, and there's the 4th guy if you want to go. But if you're the head coach, and I don't know who has the power per se, if it's the GM or if it's the head coach, you know how that struggle can be. Whoever has that power, there you go. Like, that'll tell you what that pick will be.
In general, if we were to give you a truth serum and you would lose consciousness of where you are right now and we were just to apply you for information, with you have birds all over the league,
Yeah.
are you sitting on explosive information that would make headlines?
It can be, possibly.
I mean, isn't it a problem, though, that he's talking about the Jaguars?
Who, me?
No, you're talking about the Jaguars, and you're like, well, the owner wants this, the GM wants this, the coach might want this. This is the first year of the regime. Like, isn't this already an issue? Isn't this the problem with the Jaguars? I do take special interest in your mock and Bucky's mock, though, because Bucky gets a check from the Jaguars. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
and then you're going back there for, like, Legends Weekend, and you're doing the things. You have relationships.
I have relationships.
You have relationships.
Or is it healthy because there's a committee?
I'm just saying, it's a
spinning
little
it that way?
different
Greg did like a little body language of a man walking.
Yeah, like a legend.
Your trip to Legends Week.
Superman. I would say this. I think it's healthy that everyone has a different view, right? I never have been a fan of yes men or everyone thinking the same way, because if you make the wrong turn, there's no one there to tell you to go left and you go right. It could be over. And so I love the fact that they have differences in opinion, and you can respectfully debate those opinions. It's whoever is the person that's going to have the control should have that pick, which I don't know who that is, and I think that's what we're going to find that out in a couple of days of who has all the control, and there you have it. So you want me to say it again for you? If it's Walker, Baalke has the control. If it's the tackles,
the coach.
And if Shad wants,
and you're the owner. If you're an owner, though, and then you don't want it getting out there that you don't have the control. It's not
well,
about
unless
control.
he's deferring to football people, which he should at this point, right?
I think it's not speaking to dysfunction, but rather since it hasn't happened yet, we're learning where the power lies.
Exactly.
Starting with the first pick. What else, Greg? What about the running backs?
Yeah, I'm curious who you like out of this class. I know we haven't talked about Breece Hall, Kenny Walker, any of those guys, or later round guys. Like who's caught your eye?
I mean, you could easily go on NFL.com/MJD and go to my when I rank their RBs. It's very simple. I know we work for the same company.
But this is not that show. This is not a read your list aloud. We have you in the studio.
I'm just
What
trying to
avenue he
there.
could have
This
taken?
is why I
It's
like
just one,
MJD.
right.
He always likes to mix it up.
It's just one. Obviously, I think Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker are the top. James Cook, I think, is really good as well. You got to remember, in order to be playing the NFL, you have to be a 3-down back, right? You got to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, kind of be a mismatch. More of these guys are leaning more towards McCaffrey and his style of play, where you can line up Alvin Kamara at wide receiver in the slot, catch the ball.
Any of these dudes special, though? Any of these guys, when you watch them, you'd be like, that could be the dude. That could be the next Maurice Jones-Drew, the greatest 60th pick in the NFL draft history.
I don't think there's any of those, but until my son comes out, and that's a couple years, like 8 years away. So we got some time.
8 years.
But I think Zamir White, to me, reminds me of Adrian Peterson. Now, they don't talk a lot about him, but his style of play, how he runs, tough, physical, breaks tackles. He doesn't get enough love. Breece Hall, obviously, we saw what he's been able to do. He's all over everywhere. Kenneth Walker as well. And then there's a lot of other there's some second-tier guys that I think are really good, right? There's a running back, Brooks, out of Oklahoma State. Or no, not Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, excuse me. I know that people will get upset, but he's a great runner, has great vision, great feel for the game, sets up his blocks really well. He just doesn't have the burst, ran like a 4.6. Ronnie Rivers out of Fresno State. He's from my hometown. Actually, his dad, I coached with his dad in youth football last year, and I will this year. Can do everything. His dad played in the NFL, played for the Detroit Lions. Really good. Really good.
I've noticed, though, you're using your platform as a draft analyst, a media guy,
no question,
to artificially promote the players that you've coached through the high school, and it's like a cycle. Then you'll get more players.
We're gonna get
true
there.
Or false?
Hold on, we'll get there.
Artificially, that feels like an arrow.
That's definitely what happens. Why wouldn't I use his huge platform? I'm gonna get there in a second. I never coached Ronnie Rivers. I just watched his tape, and I think what he does well. Everything does everything very well. Not really great, but everything very well, which translates to the National Football League. Right, you could be a third down guy, blocks really well, catches the ball in the backfield. He can run in between the tackles. Broke all the records. He was productive at Fresno State. Broke all their records, which is nice, right? Broke his dad's records, which is good. Now you want to talk about someone that I coached?
Okay.
So listen, all these quarterbacks are coming out in this draft, and everyone's all excited about Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis and all these guys. Well, I just got a name for you, Carson Strong. I told people, I said, and he gets some questions in the meetings with coaches like, did Maurice really coach you? No question did I really. What? Did I coach him? I coach quarterbacks like it's a thing to do. Carson Strong is a phenomenal talent. Now, he has a knee issue that a lot of people are, but I think it's fine. I don't think it's a bad thing. He's not a mobile guy, which, again, in the National Football League, tell me the last mobile quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson, 2012, just to give that to you. And that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, but who's the last non-mobile quarterback to come into the league and make an impact? And I don't mean you have to be like crazy
Matt
athletic,
Stafford?
but I'm saying like at least a Joe
Kirk
Burrow
Cousins?
level or Ryan Tannehill level of athleticism.
What is Joe? But Joe, I mean,
Okay,
Joe Burrow's
that's
a little bit more,
that's 10 years ago, Kirk Cousins, though.
that's
Patrick
fine.
Mahomes can move.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah. I mean, there's guys that have been in the league and been successful.
I'm saying, when was the last one, though, to come in without kind of a baseline of athleticism to make an impact? It's been a while.
But my guy he's athletic. He can run. He's a basketball player. It's not that he's just not like overly fast. He's not going to just blow you away. He can escape out of the pocket 5 or 6 yards. He may not get a first down, but that's fine. But what he can do, he can maneuver in the pocket, a great pocket awareness. He can throw from any platform, and he has a strong arm. And this is the other thing. And this is where it gets crazy. He's a winner. Before he went to Nevada, and no disrespect to Nevada, they weren't doing pretty good. He goes there, they win the Mountain West a couple times. He wins Player of the Year a couple times. Now, guess what? He left. The coach left. Ain't that tell you something?
Yeah.
Like the coach is like, we did all we could do here.
Right.
Our guys, we're going to leave too. And so to me, I don't know where he would go. I put him in my first mock draft. I put him at 32 to the Lions. Because and the other thing, I think people knock his confidence, his cockiness. He's just a super confident kid, as he should be, right? You took a program that was kind of on the brinks of not being very good to being a perennial conference champion in college. That's big time.
I would say, so my mock draft is coming out on tomorrow's episode.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And a tremendous amount of research went into that. But I also, I think the spice level on yours is hard to match. In the top 10, there's no one else with a mock draft like this out there. I perused. There aren't. You have Kenny Pickett to Carolina.
Boom.
Malik Willis to Atlanta, which I kind of love, by the way.
Love that.
Desmond Ritter to Seattle.
Ding.
They get in the mix. And that Matt Corral to the Saints. And the
4 in
Saints,
the
by
top
the way,
10.
all in
4
the top
out of
10.
5 picks.
Right, and the Saints give 2 number 1s to the Jets in the middle of that. And also, I
Sure,
would just say
I'll
one
take it.
little thing later in your draft. You just dropped this little nugget that the 49ers somehow suddenly pick at number 29 because they traded Deebo Samuel to the Chiefs. So there's a lot. I don't know what influences you were
Way to
under
go.
during this, but I enjoy it.
I wasn't. Our good friend Brooks or Sosimo, we were talking about it, and I was like, look, I just want to be different. I want a run at quarterback somewhere in this draft. I believe if 1 is taken in the top 10, it's going to, then 2 taken in the top 10, then all of a sudden we know how the leagues get. Guys get a little nervous and they try to go make a run for it, especially
Bingo.
if multiple guys go off. So we just wanted to do that. I think the Saints trading up for Matt Corral with the Jets makes sense, right? They're looking for a quarterback. I feel like they're a quarterback and a receiver away, but it's such a deep receiver draft. You probably can get one in the second round that can help you out.
And they got those 2 picks to potentially package and move up, and that's
Thank
got to
you.
be half of your thinking.
Right
you
there.
know?
And I think with Ritter, with the Seahawks, was that all I've been hearing is how great he's been and how he's moving up in this process. I don't know where he started. I don't know where he's going to finish. But teams are looking for it. If you're Seattle, are you going to really win with Drew Lock and Geno Smith? Like, come on, let's be honest. Are we-
Yes, Greg, yes. The answer
Jimmy,
is
I
yes.
think Geno's an underrated talent.
Stop it.
Veno
You do-
Smith.
Who?
Geno.
The one that did all he did was, okay, so what would
Well,
he
you're
do with
falling
the
into a
Jets?
trap here. But
I'm not
Yeah,
doing
we don't
that.
need
I'm
to
not
make
gonna do it.
every
Don't-
I'm
every
sorry.
show
Okay,
about
let me
Geno.
stop. We're not going to talk about Geno. But anyways, I just think that you need more if you want to win. And we know Pete Carroll's about competing, and he doesn't like to lose. And so you still need a quarterback on your roster to help you win. You're going against the Rams. You're in the Rams division. I mean,
I like it.
those guys aren't going to go.
Are you getting loose in Vegas? How are you handling this draft in terms of your personal behavior and decorum?
I will be working here at the network.
In LA?
I didn't get to go to Vegas. I don't know why. I'm probably the more like chill guy here.
Well, you're a fun guy, though. You like to go mix it up.
No.
Like when we go to London, you find your way out.
Oh, my gosh. First and foremost, I hope all the people here that are listening from London, I miss you guys so much. I hope you guys cheer for me the way you cheered for the round of the NFL guys.
That bothered you.
It bothered the hell out of me. It really
Yeah,
did.
Dan and I
That
were
was
there.
great.
They
Yeah.
introduced us. We got this big
Bothered me.
ovation.
80,000
Yeah.
people.
MJD did not.
And that's
I
a
did- I did.
Jaguars stronghold, too. So that's,
and that's the other
yeah.
problem. The last time I was there with the Jags, they rooted for Josh Scobie. This is a deep wound. If you want me to go into it, I can go into it. But I will. Forget I'm going to go into it. They rooted for Josh Scobie, okay, who was our kicker, right? And
They're into kickers
This was
in general.
2013. It was early. I get it. But then Josh Scobie was the first jersey that my firstborn son wore to his first game.
Wow.
And so now that it's deep. It's deeper than you guys, but you guys end up getting bled on from the wound.
And they're still not giving you that love now.
No,
8
we
years
still get- we
later,
still
they're
get a
just
little bit of
liking some other overrated white guys.
No.
You know?
I mean, you guys got a little bit. We still have the show on Channel 5, the Channel 5 Monday night show that we do. We're
With
starting
money,
to get a little
yep.
But you know who gets all the love on that show?
Who?
Kirsten Watson.
There you
they
go.
love her. It's just me and Money. So now I'm just sitting next to Money.
So we gotta figure out a way to get to up your game in the UK.
Well, I think this appearance is a start. I think we got to have you on regularly.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, MJD. There's a lot of ex-NFL players that work at NFL Network, but not all of them are as cool as MJD. Not all of them mixes it up with everyone. They mixes it up with us, mixes it up with everyone at the desk. Is a great guy, but I always think of how
It's true.
your relationship with Chris Wesseling, I don't even know if you know this, if you ever talked about it with him, had a maturation, had an arc to it. Maybe you didn't even know. I remember initially, because MJD, he likes to poke the bear a little bit.
That's
He
right.
likes to give people the business a little bit, but that's how he's showing love. And I think early on, I remember Wes, there was something happened when you guys were on an NFL Now set and you were poking the bear, and he thought you were like this ex-athlete who was like using
The old bully jock,
Yeah,
MJD.
bully jock,
Bullying
and like
him?
didn't
Yeah.
respect him. And he didn't take that too kindly. If you went at Wes,
you were on his radar at
you
that
were
point.
big time on his
Yeah.
radar. But I remember him telling me over the next 6 months, over that season, oh, wow, I was really wrong about MJD. He's a cool guy. You know, it was this maturation where he realized you're just one of the guys. And it was a beautiful
Well,
thing.
you and Ike Taylor were coming at us a little bit, kind of testing us to see if we
We
could
got to
hang.
test everybody
Yeah.
because we were working with Shaq, and that was like
Yeah.
the way Shaq
Let me
taught us.
tell you my first memory. They had this white couch show on Sundays.
The greatest show ever. We
All
got to drink
day,
beer.
you guys. It was a live streaming show. It was Shaq hosting it with MJD and Ike and Elliot Harrison.
And then Colleen was like like Vanna White.
Colleen was like Vanna White, and they would cycle in around the NFL jabronis in to talk certain games. And I remember the season finale in 2015 when the Jets had to beat a bad Bills team in Buffalo to make it to the playoffs, and Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 3 interceptions. I was sent immediately to the couch, and then the entire 10-minute segment was MJD and Ike laughing at me.
That's how it works.
That's pretty much how
I've
it goes.
never heard that story because I remember, I mean,
We didn't laugh at you because you guys were rolling at that time.
Dan was never more down to taping around the NFL podcast than he was for that Week 17.
That was the only
season
meaningful game
finale.
since we've been doing the show. For the
You were
Jets.
struggling to get through the Jets recap that day. They were the story. But now I know it was partly because you beat him down.
It was a bad day.
I think it was because early that week, if I remember correctly, we were kind of doing like pregame things, and I was like, which Fitzpatrick's going to show up? Like
the wrong Fitzpatrick.
the
showed
wrong
up.
one shows up every time when you need him to win. So it happens.
I think we might have a special guest.
I think you do. I think it's time for me to leave.
Is MJD leaving, or are we having the special guest come in here?
You should stay.
No, I think I should go. You should give him a little bit more attention.
I don't even know who this person is.
All right,
When,
let's
he,
roll it.
when he comes in, I'm going to walk out.
All right, here we go.
Here he comes.
2 ships
Seamless.
passing MJD. It was a pleasure.
Hey,
MJD.
See you, buddy.
always.
Thank you.
And as MJD rolls out, rolling in is the man, the myth, the potential legend, Kayvon Thibodeaux,
Whoa. This
are
is
ya?
a surprise.
who is joining me around the NFL. This was not planned. This is one of the potential top picks in the draft, maybe the number 1 pick. And now he's going to take a seat. Oh, I got you.
Careful
Here we
there.
go. That would be a tough way for your
It's all
draft
right.
stock to fall.
We're not going to put that on camera.
All right, here we go.
These are chairs for, shorter guys like me and MJD.
Kayvon, what's up? Welcome to Around the NFL.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing. I walked by, 2 or 3 times, and I was gonna, bombard you guys earlier, but we had some stuff to do.
Thanks for joining us.
We've done this show since 2013, and I don't think we've ever had someone just walk up and in, at least of your stature here, that we didn't know was planned. You're making history right now.
Well, see, the thing about it is, you either make history or you be history. Right? So
There
for
we
me,
go.
I like doing things a little different.
So-
what have you guys been discussing today?
Oh, well, Chinese foreign relations, the price of salt. No, the draft nonstop. I mean, this is all we talk about.
Maurice Jones-Drew, the great Jaguar running back turned NFL Network analyst. We just did some talk about running backs and how he thinks there's going to be a quarterback run. Now, Kayvon, where's Kayvon going in the top 10? You tell me.
I mean, if I was a GM, I'm going number 1. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But again, I don't call the shots. So for me, now I'm at peace and I'm just waiting. I'm excited. I've been thinking about it. I put on my analyst hat and I'm just trying to see how this is going to shake out. I'm excited. People are asking me, and they're like, do you know where you're going to go? Do you know where you're going to go? And I have no clue. And it's 2 days out, a day out, and I'm pretty sure no one knows where anybody will go.
I will mention tomorrow, my mock draft is coming out, and I will tell you where you're going.
Okay.
And
You
it
wanna
should be
tease it?
Should be higher. I think it's a little bit
Oh, because
disrespectful.
you're caught off guard. If you would have known Kayvon was coming on the show, you'd have him one.
I would have
Yeah.
rewritten some things.
See how
but
people act?
It's okay.
this is good though. Number 4 to the New York Jets. They
My
have
Jets.
long
That's
needed
Dan's team.
a presence like you. How would you feel
Kayvon,
about that?
Can I let me just give you a little more background, Kayvon? John Abraham, 2006, the last Jets edge rusher or real disruptor that could get after a quarterback. We've been waiting now for more than 15 years. I would love if you were on my favorite team.
Come on now. It's time. You got to manifest it. That's the thing. I've been realizing it's all about manifesting. It's all about the energy you kind of put into the world. So just keep putting that out there, and hopefully your dreams
Okay,
come
so
true.
you like that one. So because Carl Lawson's coming back, him on one side,
Be
you
dangerous.
on the other, New York. I mean, you have to, as a player, I feel like it's not talked about, but you must be thinking about, which place am I going to go live in
That's
for the
the-
next
and
4 to
that
5
is the
years,
hardest part.
maybe 10 to 12. Who knows how long? So have you thought about the different cities and
Man,
which ones you would
I'm
fit
sitting,
best?
Every day I sit on Zillow and I'm like, man, if I go to New York, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. If I go to Detroit, I live in a mansion. I'm like, if I go to Jacksonville, I live in a mansion. So I'm like, just trying to figure out.
So kind of, are you thinking more like you'd rather have a place you can spread out a little, or you'd rather be in the middle of a big city?
I mean, you've been to Oregon for a while.
I've been to Oregon.
so,
I'm
yeah.
from LA. I love love the big city. I love, having something to do. But then again, I also love my family, and I love being, in my own space. So for me, I think it'll be finding that happy medium where if I go to a New York team, I'll try to find, some space that's not too far. A lot
of them live in New Jersey.
That's what I hear in New Jersey. And when I was there, I saw it. It's nice and spaced out, but the prices. I'm cheap.
Oh, you'll be all right.
I'm cheap, so I'm gonna buy something. I'm gonna build it myself. You know what I mean?
What is
I'm gonna take some construction classes.
What is the toughest part of this process? Because it is. We'll keep it real here. So, like with Kayvon, sometimes it's like this guy is going to be the best player in the draft. Some people say he doesn't have the motor or isn't always into it. Like, how does it feel to hear so much positive and negative stuff just over and over for a 3-month process?
Well, the funniest part about it is, I don't know those people who say these things, so it doesn't really matter. When you don't know somebody, it takes away that that emotional tie to what someone's saying. But when you just talk about just getting everything ready for this moment, where from family to the build up to working out, maintaining everything that you've built upon, and kind of having that forward thinking, right? Because this is a big moment, but it's not the top of the hill. Right, this is just a stepping stone. So as long as I kind of keep that forward thinking to know that regardless of what happens, on Thursday, I still got to go put a helmet on and go play.
Right,
so,
but it's also a culmination. I mean, you're someone, especially as like a hugely recruited high school player, that the hope was that you were going to get to this point all the way back then. So that it is a great night. We love to watch the draft and just see everyone's joy, because for you, it's the end of such a long process. For us, we're just kind of crashing into it. We're dumb when it comes to the draft. Like we're cramming. So
I was going to say, I don't know if there needs to be like a draft college. I think there needs to be some type of.
I was going to say, you guys seem dumb.
Yeah, we are. There
That's
should
what
be.
he's saying.
There should be, because we don't try to pretend. I feel like some in the media try to pretend that we're learning as we go. So for dumb or for people catching up like us cramming, tell us like what makes you like what separates you. What's the Kayvon Thibodeaux all about?
Aiden Hutchinson. Why is it Kayvon time?
I just personally, I feel like I'm going to be one of the greatest to ever play this position and ever play the game. And it's not because of what I've done. Right. And I think that's the misconception, right? That people think I believe that I should be in this position because of what I've done. No, it's about what I'm going to do. You're not wealthy, you're not rich until you do something with the money. You get what I'm saying? Right. So I could get here and make these millions.
What's your skill set though that's going to help you get it done, that you think is going to translate in the NFL?
It's learn and apply. That's the skill set. How many people can learn and apply, and how fast can you learn and apply, right? So for me, I've really taken heed to being able to get information and then apply it to my game. So I say that where everything that I need to get better at, everything that I need to work on, everything that I'm being coached to do, I can learn it and apply it. And then I can also get those extra, in between the lines things from the vets and everything that could just pour into me. And I'm just going to keep going.
All right, I'm sold.
I would ask you this, though. You have you've been making visits. You've talked to coaches around the leagues, GMs. They've been looking deeper at you. Do you have a sense that there's a small pack of teams that are the most interested in you? Do you have an agent saying it seems like it could be here or here?
Top 5. When I tell you, like me, the difference between me and you guys will feel it. Like once I leave this, you guys are gonna feel like you know me, and it's not because I wanna be you guys as friends, but it's because I'm authentic.
But you do want to be our friends. Right?
I don't. I'm authentic. I'm authentic in how I project myself and who I want to be. So, like I say, all the coaches I've met, everybody that I've met, it's genuinely who I am. Right. So forget what you've heard, forget what's being said, forget the image is framed in.
All right.
Hear it from the horse's mouth.
Which one of us would give you the biggest challenge if we were lined up in an athletic competition to try to stop you from getting to a quarterback?
I'm going to tell you who. I want to say it's you. Why? Because you have a poker face. They have no poker face. They're here chilling. Me, I love somebody who puts it on like they got it all together.
Sure.
Well, top number 1 overall pick.
Finally, you got the answer you've been looking for all these years. Kayvon Thibodeaux, thank you so much. I really do want you to be on the Jets. I hope it works out. That would put you in the top 5. That's what you want. So if you don't go number 1, which is ideal, come to Florham Park. Let's get wild. Let's
make the call. All these rumors going around. Go start some rumors. Get me in New York. All right, wherever you guys want me, just go start some rumors and let's get there.
Let's try.
Let's just good stuff. All right,
charge ahead.
Tayvon, thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks, Kayvon.
Appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one.
Oh, there he goes. Now that was a surprise. Ricky, how did that really come together as it was explained? He just walked past the glass, the fishbowl here, and wanted to jump on?
Yeah, he looked and he popped in and he goes, "What are they doing?" And I go on in. Take a walk.
He took a look at our download numbers, obviously, and said, "This is important for my career."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, are those the around the NFL guys?"
Right. That's what in our heart of hearts, I think we were all hoping for that he's like, "Oh, I'm
big
saw
fan.
them. They're with MJD. I'm a huge fan." But I guess it's just
he doesn't want to be friends, but that's okay.
It's honest, though.
I love that.
Yeah, the honesty was good. And you know what? Like, he is a guy that's a polarizing prospect because people say that he might be arguably the best player in this draft, but then there are some concerns.
I have a theory about this.
Okay.
I've been seeing this. I think I don't think coaches and scouts like the idea of players who are potentially smarter than them. And not smarter football smart. He just talks about it's super into chess and he's got all these interests. And I think there's this weird thing in the NFL that it's sometimes they're afraid of people who are just outwardly really intelligent because they give off a vibe that football isn't the only thing that's ever mattered to them, and they think that's the only way that you could possibly be great at football. And I don't buy that. I think sometimes when you hear these whispers about character stuff, it's give me a break.
It's Josh Rosen.
I think isn't Kayvon the guy that has his own cryptocurrency that he's launching and a lot of outside ventures, and I believe that for some of these teams that's seen as, oh, this guy's not all about the game. But be careful with that because it might be just somebody that has a lot of different interests.
You can be two things.
You absolutely. And you know what? A guy with swagger like that, it makes me think of a Keyshawn Johnson type who caught a lot of those vibes as well. Oh, this guy is a showboat. He's a look at me guy. But that dude, as an example, he was all those things, but he was also a badass and tough as hell and a big time player.
Right.
Listen, it doesn't take much to sell me, but that was kind of cool to see a guy that has that level of confidence and combine that with the skill set. Maybe he's a big time player. We'll see.
Well, I think he'd fit very well in the Jets. That's why I mocked him there, and that's what's going to happen.
That is a nice fit. If I was a Jets fan, I would love that. And what he also has, which I think has gotten lost in the shuffle here, is a ton of production. To me, that
should matter.
That should matter. He has produced at a very high level for a long time, being that guy who was literally the #1 overall high school recruit in the country. He's had that sort of bullseye and the media focus on him since he was 16, 17, and he's produced throughout, whereas some of the other guys don't have that production. That's why I get Hutchinson going first. I don't get Walker.
And that's why the process sometimes it's just the draft industrial complex. And this has become such a massive industry that involves so much content and so many voices, and it generates huge TV ratings and eats up hours for everyone in terms of...
They've got gorillas making the pick on day 3. Day 3 feels like it's 48 hours long.
They have a day 3 gorilla pick, and there's so much talk that a guy like Kayvon Thibodeaux drops in the draft. Back in February, he was locked and loaded 1 or 2. Now you see him mocked in the teens, and it's what has actually changed? Other than we've talked so much that we need to talk about something else to get to April 28th. I think that factors in with some of these the draft journeys these guys take. Anyway, cool, very cool.
MJD, great too.
What's that?
I said MJD was great too.
MJD,
Great to finally have him.
It's kind of similar to how when we were interviewed at the Big Tot, the Hot Toddy, and we got all the pop from the crowd, and MJ didn't like it. And then same thing. He comes on the podcast, and then Kayvon rolls in, and he gets the shine.
MJD's not going to like that at all.
But it's he doesn't deserve that because he was excellent.
Right.
But
well, we'll have him again, I would assume.
Should we do 5 minutes on MJD? Maybe he deserves that just to balance the scales.
I mean, I think a decade to get him on the show.
Yeah,
so.
I think he was happy, and I think if he's around, and he's certainly around in the season, and we can make the schedules, we got to have him on a lot.
Yeah, he's a good dude, MJD. We tease some big news. It is big news. It's huge. It's huge news for the show, and it's bittersweet news that effective the end of this week, Erica Tamposi will no longer be with our show in the same capacity. Ricky Hollywood, and jump on Rick, is moving on to different projects, and this is something to me is a little overdue. Erica's so talented and good at what she does and creative that I'm really excited to see what happens next. And we got her for 5 years, which is longer than we've ever had a producer. But
by about 3 years.
Right. But Ricky came to us and wanted to try something new in her career, where you're at, Ricky. And we were obviously bummed, but also totally in support of it. And this is our last few shows together, and just want to say we're going to miss you, but you deserve this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you guys. There's been some real exciting stuff that's coming up in the future that I'm really, really looking forward to, but it is so, bittersweet because this is not just a career. We are a family, and that doesn't change that I'm no longer producing. But yeah, I've had a lump in my throat for the past, month and a half that we've been kind of talking this out, and some things have come along my desk that have been really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the future. But I'm scared too. It's not being with you guys is definitely something that, it keeps me up at night.
What was your first season? Was it 2016 or 2017?
Might have been 2017. 2016.
I remember like an early Thursday night type of Patriots recap that me, Dan, and you did. And I just remember whatever sort of bit that we talked about in terms of we went hard in on that we were both Patriots fans, and Ricky came in so hard, so strong, and I was just like, this is unlike any producer we've had, and I love it, and it's been a great ride.
I don't know. You don't replace Ricky Hollywood, and Justin Graver is going to come in and take over for Erica behind the glass, and we're excited about that. But there is a part of the show, so much has changed at NFL in the last 18 months or so, kind of starting to me with losing Chris, and then COVID hits and shuts down the world, and we've seen so many people leaving the company. We just learned recently that Henry will be staying with the NFL, but moving back to his native England, which we're very happy for him as well, but also, again, bittersweet because he's our friend. And so this is just the latest thing, Marc, where the show is always changing and evolving, and now we have to evolve without the great Ricky Hollywood.
Well, I think we've probably had like 14 different producers. And I certainly have my power rankings, and the top 3 or 4 or 5 have made huge impacts on the show, but there's no equal to Erica's impact. I'm with you. I thought she came in a good way with incredible effort and creativity right out of the gate. And you're like, this is a different type of person. And when Erica has an idea, and I can think of so many, we're tasked with so many shows that were done on video, and we have to open with these skits and stuff. And that was where Erica started to find, I think, her creativity, her voice. She isn't afraid to drop a bomb on us verbally, which is needed occasionally. And I can't imagine what's
next. Especially on Gregg.
On Gregg. I mean, yeah. I've taken some fire on this show from her, whether it be her, verbally or with the sound bites. I will miss that. There is no replacing Erica. But wherever she goes and whatever she does, I know you're going to do great. And we're losing a family member, but family members, in our hearts, they're not going anywhere.
We still got two big shows. Or 3 big shows.
3 more.
We've got the mock. We've got the 2 draft shows. And, the big finale when we are also announcing that Erica is going to announce the Mr. Irrelevant pick at the... Oh, no, wait. Actually, we'll unfortunately Saturday be all in our own houses.
And Erica, we also have our dinner with you and Dan and myself while Gregg goes and dines with his other friends.
Really looking forward to that, you guys. No, seriously, I'll be here this week as well, and I want to thank all the listeners. It has been, the greatest time of my life in my career, and I've had so much support and so many followers that have joined along and have helped shared my videos and become broadcast. I mean, like, you guys specifically, what you have done, the listeners, and then you 4 guys, what you guys have done for my career and being able for me to kind of step out and do stuff that really, really makes me happy. Like, I would not be here without all of you.
We love you, Ricky, and like you were saying, we've been talking about this at different times over the last few months, and you just had a milestone birthday, and right when I turned 30, like, that was a light went on for me, like there was time to try something new, and and that's where you're at. I think it's all exciting, and we're very happy for you because we know whatever happens next is going to be successful, and we'll get to say that was our producer.
A light went on for me about 36, so just it may not happen right away.
It can happen later. Same with Chris, I think, a little later in his life. I wish he was here. We always wish he was here.
Oh, Ricky got a head start on you bums. She's going to be ready to roll.
Like he would have the right thing to say to you. I do not. Like he would have the perfect thing to say, but I think that would resonate with him really strongly about like, in what you're doing, find what you really love, what's really going to get you excited, not just in your personal life, which obviously is great, but in your career, because like there's no time to waste doing that. So he would be so happy about that and would say it beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Think about him a lot, of course, throughout this too.
Love you, Ricky. All right, but we got some shows left together, so let's make them count. Coming up tomorrow, the Marc Sessler mock draft. Oh, my goodness. Also, the return of a very special guest. I'll leave it at that. And then we are off to Vegas. So big week for the show. Last week with Ricky. We're going to make it count until Wednesday. Thank you, by the way, to MJD. Thank you to Kayvon Thibodeaux. What? That was still crazy. And thank you to Ricky for 5 amazing years. Until Wednesday, heed the call.